Welcome to the InFlow Podcast. I am your host, Michelle Bosch. I see a gaping hole across society that focuses on the outer work and forgets about the inner work, when what we really need is to bridge the gap between prosperity and spirituality to live a life in flow, with inflows of light, inflows of cash, inflows of creativity, inflows of grace in our lives. Each week, join me for powerful messages and interviews that will leave you inspired and ready to step into flow in your higher work. So now, let's go.
There are so many young boys and girls, especially those that look like me, that need to be able to see what is possible. And when I say I'm so committed to living out loud in front of them, I literally want to show them what is possible. No matter how your immediate surroundings look, I'm here to live out loud and show you what is possible. And then for them to even surpass, this level of excellence that I've been able to achieve, I want so much bigger for them. So when I think about legacy, it is being intentional about living out loud in front of those who are looking to me to show them what possibility looks like.
Yeah. When you say living out loud, I think of being fully self-expressed and really basically pursuing and leaving no stone unturned in terms of really reaching your potential.
Yeah. And for me, it is bringing my full authentic self. Like you cannot have, someone told me the other day, and I've heard it often, but you see my glory, but you do not know my story. So being able to truly be self-expressive and to live all out and just all of that, because I cannot wipe away my past, but what I can do is to be intentional about pushing forward, and that in itself speaks volumes. So that's where the for me, it's the 3 E's. It's the 3 E's, and this is what I am.
I like the 3 letters. Yeah, E's. Okay.
So and this is what I'm committed to this year and beyond. Right? It is to equip, to edify, and to encourage. And that's what I believe I'm here for. And this year, 2021, everything I do will be intentionally to satisfy one or all of those 3 E's. Equip, edify, and encourage.
I love this, Myoshia. Love this, Myoshia, because it's not only equipping, edifying, and encouraging others. Sometimes we need to use, I know that I need to use those 3 E's on myself as well. You know what I mean? Yeah. Every time we're about to up level and get to the next level, there's always these, I would say, I don't know if it's doubts, more like, gosh, am I really worthy of this next level? Am I really, who am I really? Look at where I come from, a third world country, and find myself, questioning whether I even should pursue something, that would bring me to the next level of wealth, not just financially, but in any area. Yeah. And I don't know if you have, those thoughts going, in your head as well, so I had them back when I had nothing and I started with nothing. And then you overcome those and you normalize new levels, you know what I mean? But those things still come back. How do you use these three when you're in a moment like that, when you're doubting yourself and you're like, okay, I need to push through? How do you do it?
Yeah, I'll tell you, Michelle, I am unapologetically a Christian.
Okay.
And during those times, I have to intentionally tell myself and remind myself not only who I am, but whose I am. And if I am going to be a true believer, that means I need to see myself as God sees me. And God sees me as great.
Yeah.
He sees me as great already.
Yeah.
Like there is nothing I don't need. I am worthy already. Yeah. And when those thoughts creep up, because they will, and the interesting thing about that is it's not, like you said, it's not just going to happen once. Every time you get ready to up level, it's going to creep back in there.
Yeah.
And always during those times, we have to not only remind ourselves who we are, but whose we are. And we should know that we are already great. Already. And someone asked me at the end of 2019, as you're going into a new year, and as I just shared with you, my 3 E's for 2021. But at the end of 2019, someone asked me what my word was going to be for 2020. And I kept thinking about it, and it never came to me. I got still and I got quiet, and the word never came to me. But what did come to me was a phrase.
Okay.
And it was, why not me? And that's how I lived throughout 2020. Why not me?
Oh my God, Myoshia, I did not know this. So we have a theme always for every year. Guess what our theme for 2020 was? It was, why not us? Why not now?
Wow.
No
Alignment.
We're like in
alignment, Michelle. Alignment.
Yes. So why not me? Yeah, and that's a powerful question, whenever you're having those doubts, for sure. Now, a relationship, Myoshia, that has had a big impact in your life. Is there any specific relationship that has had an incredible impact?
Okay, so I will for a moment I'll go deep spiritual and just say my relationship with God and being able to build that relationship has been the ultimate, right? But then when I think on a lower level, when I think about a relationship that I've experienced here on this earth, it would definitely have to be the one that I have shared with my daughter. I got pregnant early. I had my daughter early. So the woman that I am today is because of the mother that I am to her.
Yeah.
So that relationship, even now, as she is a woman of, herself and about to be a mother herself, that relationship and the dynamic of it now, in that she's not just my daughter, but she's also an amazing part of my team. And she makes up, what we see as excellence in the world. So she plays that role. So to be able to experience that has been such a great joy. But it's been a relationship that I've been in for 28 years, and it's been the most profound relationship that I've ever experienced.
Yeah. I can relate. I'm a completely different person the moment, Sophia was born.
Immediately.
Yeah.
It's like immediately.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think if it's one thing I know for sure, it's that every single moment is full of pure potential.
Mm-hmm.
Every single moment in isolation of itself is pure potential.
Mm-hmm.
So if I can remember the truth that every moment, anything positive or anything negative or anything can happen, and I can say to myself, okay, this isn't working, but I remember the truth. And the truth is that pure potential is in this moment now.
What do you do to catch yourself though? Because I mean, we could go down that rabbit hole of the negative story, but what is the pattern interrupt that you use?
I have recently been, I would say of the last several months, I've been listening to a lot of Dr. Joe Dispenza.
Okay.
And Joe talks about, now I'm a real science nerd, so that was actually the hardest thing for me to do, to embrace my spirituality, because I'm like the reluctant spiritual person. But the science in neuroscience and neuroepigenetics is about how you bring your baggage, and it has an effect not just on your mind, but that's stored in the body, in your cells.
Yeah.
And so I have been disciplining myself several times a week, which is hard because I'm doing land flipping all day, and doing a 2-hour meditation is not really too conducive. But
I know, yeah.
Yeah. But if I want to front load my future and not bring the bags in the backpack, then I need to take the time. So I will also institute quick things. Can be I'll catch myself getting frustrated or going into a negative place, and I will say, change. I'm not going to bring the old stuff. I'm going to change. And like yesterday, I lost an entire hour of work doing, putting up some sites, some land on some sites. And I was so frustrated. The whole thing just dumped after an hour. It was massively frustrating. So the second thing I do is I exercise every day, 7 days a week. I've taken up mountain biking ride. I'm mountain biking now. Started doing this. But I have to exercise in order to keep the monkey mind in the cage.
And move the body. And, and we forget that just like we can affect the body with the mind, that we can affect the mind with the body too, that it goes both ways. So yeah, I like that. I have actually just started a new, program with one of the actually coaches inside of our coaching, program recommended in a friend. She's a nutritionist and trainer as well. And that commitment of, she's like, it doesn't have to be an hour. It can just be 15 to 20 minutes, Michelle, but give yourself some love, 15 to 20 minutes every day to do something that, you enjoy, whether it be biking, hiking, walking, whatever it is, but just do something and putting it in every day, to move the body to, like you said earlier, there's so much that is stored trauma in the body, and whatever circumstances are coming at us and our responses to them, positive and negative, everything is being stored in the body. And we forget how important it is to move. I've also been experimenting with dance and just as a way to basically keep the 15, 20 minutes enjoyable and pursuing my joy, you know what I mean? And making sure that I don't get bored. And it's just, as a Latina, I have been enjoying that. I have been reconnecting with my Latin roots a bit. And so important. I appreciate that. So now, for a lady that is starting right now and maybe in her take two of her life career, maybe because, she may have decided to get her foot off the gas to, raise a family, or is ready to make a pivot, is unhappy perhaps in a corporate job or whatever. What piece of advice would you have for anyone starting out and that would, that is looking at land investing and land flipping as a true career opportunity, a vehicle to create wealth? What would be your piece of advice?
Well, the first thing that I would advise would be on a personal note. So on a personal note, I would say to each woman, even though I think we're drawn to multitask and we are drawn to take care of everything, you have to prioritize, and you have to prioritize yourself. This is a big issue for me. And it's been a hard one to prioritize myself. Yeah. I raised my little brother and my little sister. I was raised to be a caretaker. But you have to put yourself first, and you have to expand your life, not just for yourself. Let's say, for example, I want to expand my life for me because I'm acutely aware of how finite it is, but I'm a great role model for my daughter and my son. Because they see me expanding. They see us not being afraid. They see us going all in, working 7 days a week, getting up at 5 a.m, arguing about comps, whatever it is that we're doing. We're a role model for them. And we showed them that, number one, we're dedicated. Number two, we know it's hard. Number three, we do it anyway. Because number four, we're only going to fail if we stop, and we're not going to fail. Yeah, so I would advise her to prioritize herself, decide if this is something she wants to go into, go all in, get a coach. You need some backup. Nobody needs to go into anything alone. I know it's expensive, but it's worth every minute to save you the time, the judgment, the self-questioning, the being pulled to I really should start dinner and then I'll make that comp. And then, I have to take my kids somewhere. You have to think of yourself, not be afraid, and getting over the failure. Okay, that failed. Oh, well, really, what can I gain from that? What's the mistake that I made? Okay, just learn the mistake, let go. Otherwise, you're just going to be swimming in failure, and nobody wants to swim in a sewer. Let's go in the fresh water.
How are you bringing in or cultivating some ease, some grace in your life on your daily basis?
I think mostly just my mindset.
Okay.
I keep, because I realized that's the most important thing. Just knowing, just keeping that going, just keeping, I can have this. I'm worthy of this. Why not? Why not dream big?
Those are amazing questions. Yeah.
I went so long just being satisfied. Being satisfied. I had a good life. So why do anything else? And it's I feel like I missed out on so much. I wish I caught this fire, 20 years ago, because it's just so empowering to know that you really can have anything, but you have to decide to do that. You have to take those steps.
Yeah.
It's not magic. You can't learn a program or get a college degree and have it sit there on the wall or sit there on a shelf. It's you have to do it. You have to do the work. You have to make the steps, comfortable or not, just do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And you're right. It all starts with mindset. It's we were watching Queen. We were a little concerned because, it's a strong movie. This past weekend, at the time of this recording, with my daughter Sophia, she's now 13, and somewhere there somebody was talking about, in order to have good actions or good deeds, you need, it starts with good thoughts. Good thoughts equal good words equal good actions. And you're right, mindset is so important, especially when the tendency is for us to say, when an opportunity comes, who do you think you are to be able to do something like that? I like to call it like my shitty bitty committee. And then I reframe that question, and I'm like, well, why not? Why not me? Why not now? That was actually our theme for last year. We always come up with like a theme for the year, and that was exactly it. And boy, did that, that theme for the year hit it on the spot, especially, in the middle of such a Block Stone event like we had during COVID last year, where we broke through. I mean, just incredible breakthrough year in not just in our education business, but most importantly in the land flipping business as well, because land was selling like crazy. I wish I would have had much more inventory of recreational land and path of growth, because everyone was wanting to spend some time out there with their family, and we definitely did not have enough. And it took us like a good 60 days to really ramp up our mailings, and so on and so forth. But yeah. So now, 3 pieces of advice, Lauri, for a woman, that is listening right now, either starting out or looking to recreate herself. What are some wisdom, your wisdom gems that if we, were to think back, and you would go back in time and give yourself this advice, when you were graduating, high school, what would those 3 pieces of advice be now that you've had all of this experience in hindsight?
I would say the first one is don't settle.
Okay.
Don't settle for mediocre. I mean, it's easy to have an average life that's okay and some good experiences, but you don't have to settle for that.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get comfortable in that.
Mm-hmm.
You can have so much more. And I guess next would be don't be timid.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not doing stuff you don't know or you've never done before, is always uncomfortable. Yeah. But the more you do it, the easier it gets.
Yeah.
And the more you're doing it, the more you learn from other people and yourself because you're out there doing it.
Yeah.
And I think so many people let that stop them. And a lot of people who know me would be very surprised to find out this stuff that I do all the time is out of my comfort zone. Mm-hmm. And I do it because it needs to be done.
Yeah.
And there's a tremendous amount of satisfaction in that, when you've gotten through it. And my first escrow, I'm sitting there talking to people like I knew what I was doing and what they should be doing and what I needed. And again, I was just a big fat faker, but now I can herd rabbits through an escrow because sometimes you have to.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love this because I think of myself also like as this adrenaline junkie, what a rush, something that you've never done before. And even if you stumble your way through it, once you're on the other side, it's like, it is exhilarating to know that you've been able to do something that you didn't think you could or that you've never done before. So I love that. And what would be number 3?
Don't listen to your story. Okay. Listen to your dream. Because everybody has a story. Everybody has a reason why they can't do something or why they would never be good enough to do something. Everybody has that twirling around in their head all the time. You need to just cut that loop off. Yes. I can never be successful. I didn't get a college degree. Well, talk to Bill Gates. It obviously can be done.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, it's like you got to put your story aside. All those things you tell yourself of why you can't. You just look at your dream and figure out how you're going to get there.
Yeah, absolutely. Be driven by that vision, and the how shows up. It's kind of like you got to make a decision on what why you're doing it and what that thing is going to be. Kill other options is always, something that I like to say. And once you've killed other options, the universe comes to show you the how, more often than not, that it's almost like it conspires. And when you have not committed or decided, the universe is uncertain as to what you want, and therefore nothing really happens. But the moment that you're crystal clear in a direction, of what it is that you want, it's every single time I've always felt like embraced and lifted, by an energy that I'm going to call God, towards things just happening, and stumbling my way forward, and falling forward in faith is what I like to call, in whatever it is that I'm doing. So
as long as you're following forward.
Yeah, and failing forward too. Yeah, failing forward for sure. And sometimes, you need to take a few steps back. It's happened to me too. That I've had to take those steps back, but I always think about it as a bow, in archery, where it goes back, but once it's only going back to have strength, energy, and force to really power through forward. And that happens sometimes occasionally to all of us too. It certainly happened to me before, to Jack, to us, in all our business, in whatever line of business we've been at, that you sometimes have to take 2 steps back, but that's just to spring forward.
My morning ritual is pretty different most days with my meditation. The first thing I do is do meditation. And meditation can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people these days, right?
Yeah.
But I like shifting up the type of meditation that I do in the morning. So I may just do a womb space meditation, or usually if I'm feeling that, like coming into my body, I'll do the whole vertical core. So I'll be very anchored in the center of my head as I'm doing that now, very anchored in the center of my heart as I'm doing now, and very anchored in the womb space. So I'm feeling all 3 lined up. Infinite.
Oh my God, right now, as you were saying, I'm like trying to here. And while I keep it here, it almost, I felt like even an immediate response to be more upright.
Yeah.
Physically.
Yeah. There's like when you're anchored, well, womb space, we start there. It's gravitas, it's safety, it's security, it's authority, it's trust, all those things. When you're in the center of your head and you're in that portal opening up like a camera aperture in the center of your head, it is opening to the infinite, massive intuition that scared me in the beginning, but now I understand why I'm seeing what I'm seeing, right? And this center also needs to open for the ego mind to fall away, to not be going all day long. And then, of course, the heart is love and compassion and all of that.
Yeah, that's interesting that you mentioned that, because, for the most part, you hear about intuition being equated with, I have this gut feeling, and the gut feeling is really what they're referring is the womb space, but not a whole lot of people referring to like an inner knowing, like you just described right now, that just comes almost as of a download as a result of, this energetic center around the head being open and you cultivating that openness.
And it's the same with feeling, some people are more heart type I'm just feeling it, I'm just sensing it through my joy meter, and so everyone has intuition coming through all 3 centers, and you will have a dominant and I will have a dominant. So my dominant is actually my heart. It's through feelings. Okay. And yours might be gut, yours might be head. Who knows? Usually I can tell pretty quickly. You feel like a sort of a gut. I don't know. Do you say that sometimes? I just got a gut feeling about it, or do you more say just what do you say?
I usually say feeling. I feel like this is the right way to go. So I'm thinking probably center, and then kind of like my mind then kicks in as far as like rationalizing and analyzing and making something logical out of it that I can then communicate to my team as to why we're going to change something, especially like, if we have a strategy for sales or for marketing or for whatever. And then I kind of like intuit from the environment and from perhaps data, but mainly, engagement.
Right.
I'm like, okay, I think we need to change this. And I'm feeling that this is what we need to do. So I'm thinking probably here and then immediately here to come up with the languaging that I can communicate.
Exactly. Well, the here is what we all do, because we're using the mind part of our earth suit. We're just like, can I use you now? I've got what I need to do. Now I need to, versus the internal anchor there is very different. It's got no thought. It's hardly any thought at all.
Okay.
So to get back to my morning, I'm like taking a long time here to share my morning.
It's okay. It's beautiful. We keep learning from you.
But if I can have all three centers anchored and open, like I am getting out of my meditation chair with a big freaking smile on my face. I mean, that's just what's happening. So that might be one. The energetic field. We do a lot of work in the Art of Feminine Presence of what's happening in your field that is creating what you're creating. Looking at, the
it's like a circle, or a
absolutely,
cycle.
Absolutely. A lot of people get stuck in mindset work. They like, I got to change my beliefs. I got to think differently. I got to have a better mindset. But a mindset change doesn't necessarily shift your whole energetic pattern. And what's happening in your life is responding to your energetic pattern.
Okay.
You know what I'm
saying?
saying?
Can you now make a distinction between what people think of as mindset and when you are referring to, energetic work? People might think of that as mindset as well, not recognizing that these are two completely different things.
Exactly. So let's take an example. In Powerful and Feminine is my first book. There's quite a bit in there around relationships, like women trying to deal with, how am I around the relationship with the masculine, intimate relationships? Maybe I've been single for too long, all that kind of thing. So let's use that as an example. It's not what the whole book is about, but it's some of it. So a woman may be able to like do some coaching and go, you can have the love of your life, like, let's just change what you keep saying to yourself. And let's just like upgrade your mindset to you can have the love of your life. And they're like, yeah, okay, I'm going to write that many times. I'm going to read books of that. And I'm just going to say it to myself. That's like a mindset thing. Yes, I know I need to change that belief. But just because it changes from a mental belief standpoint, the energy system may be saying, I am not open. I am, I'm scared. I'm scared of being very vulnerable in the space of a man. If I really get honest about it. And, conscious masculine men really want a conscious feminine woman. And so there can be a lot around sexuality. And that's happening in the energy field. No matter how much it's like, I'm getting the love of my life. I can feel it. I know it. I'm like,
I hope this episode left you feeling inspired and ready to get inflows of cash, inflows of light, and inflows of faith in your life. I welcome your reviews on iTunes. Please leave me a review and help me create an amazing community of women in flow. Thank you, as always, for sharing your voice by going to michellebosch.com and joining the conversation about this show. And while you're there, grab a copy of my 10 Commandments to Living a Life in Flow. You can also follow me on Facebook at Michelle Bosch and on Instagram at Michelle Bosch Official. Thank you very much, and until the next one.